Good morning. So yes, 6 years ago, I gave my first icebreaker speech, which is hard to believe. And many of you know me already. Many of you were actually probably here for the icebreaker speech 6 years ago. But I thought I'd give just a little recap of what that was. You might have heard me say that I was also from Iowa. I love all these Iowa people in here. I'm from Southwest Iowa, and we had hills. So we have Iowa covered if you need to know any information about Iowa. I would have told you that I went to the University of Iowa. I grew up on a farm, on a pig farm actually, out kind of in the middle of nowhere, covered by hills. You couldn't see another house from where I lived. So I wanted to say that I walked to school uphill and home and uphill to school, or however that's said. That's what my dad used to say every single time. So I would tell about my adventures in Iowa. After I graduated from college, about a year and a half later, I moved down here to Kansas City in 1992. So I've been here for a long time. So this feels like home for the most part. And then I got married. I had 3 beautiful daughters. Got divorced. Got my teaching degree in there. I started teaching. I worked for a virtual school and taught online for about 6 years and taught mostly homeschool kids who were, I was like their pull-out math teacher in a sense. So, and then started doing real estate. About the same time, I kind of was doing both of them at the same time when I started Toastmasters. So I imagine my first speech was talked about that and a little bit about the many, many different types of jobs that I've had. As I started kind of thinking back over that first speech, I was like realizing that everything that I kind of talked about were external things, like how I described myself, right? Like I was a teacher, or I was a mother, or I was from Iowa, that kind of thing. Everything was outside in, and it made me kind of think about the fact that over the last 6 years or maybe 10 years, I've started to live my life a little bit different. I was always kind of living where I thought that I was worried about what everybody else was thinking. I was constantly trying to judge myself or make myself fit into how everybody else, how it would work in that situation, trying to morph myself to what outside was like. And what I realized is kind of looking back is that I've changed that a little bit, and I've started to work more from the inside out, where I have my characteristics that are inside, and I try to kind of project those out onto the world. So it was kind of exciting to look back over that. So I've named that first speech Julie 1.0, and now you're getting Julie 2.0. So the 2.0 version, I thought I'd give you a little bit more of a recap on that, is more kind of from the inside out, hopefully. Not always. Sometimes I worry about lots of different things that people are thinking, but those are old habits, right? Those are hard to stop. So I would say if I'm going to give my speech about who I am now, I'm someone who is kind most of the time and loving. My children are very important. My family is important to me. One of the things that I do really well is work with other people. I'm a collaborator at heart. I love to do things with other people. I also do my best if I have somebody else that I'm accountable for. Like I step up my game, it seems like, if there's 2 of us working together. And another thing that came up is that I did Janelle's strength test, and one of the things that I knew, but there's a word for it, was called adaptability. And now I'm not plugging for this, but I might get a few points on my evaluation here. But no, it was really good. One of the words was adaptability and kind of going with the flow. So that is one thing that I just kind of do naturally, is go with the flow. So that would be another kind of inside trait that I have. And then another one of them is to be learning, kind of like Sap was saying, to be constantly learning. And usually I'm trying to learn about myself, I'm trying to learn about other people and how everything connects and how it can work better together. So I'm on this kind of quest to be always learning something and trying some new stuff. And one last thing is just trying to always look at the positive side, trying to be optimistic, trying to pull out the positive things. Sometimes that works, and sometimes that's annoying to other people, so I try not to always. They like to my kids want to just say all the bad things, right, sometimes. And then one good thing about kind of being in this 2.0 place is that I get to let go of some of the things that I don't do well and stop feeling guilty for them. So for instance, I don't shovel my driveway at all. And so I don't feel guilty about that, even though everybody else in my neighborhood does. I don't feel guilty as much about maybe exercising not as much as I should, or, you know, little things like, oh my God, I have no heel on the bottom of my shoe today as I'm running out the door, or not always being, you know, 15 minutes early to somewhere that you're supposed to be. But anyway, so these are some of the things of Julie 2.0. So I wanted to recap Julie 1.0, give you a little taste of Julie 2.0, and maybe in a few years I'll bring out Julie 3.0 and we'll levitate and transcend. Thank you.